Good morning again, Green Spring. We're doing our Who's Who show today, and Dale Beeby is my guest. Dale Beeby, if you've ever been to the wood shop, you probably find her there because she's done quite a bit of work there. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about a couple of other things she's done also. Dale, it's a pleasure to have you on Who's Who today.
It's my pleasure to be here and to be with all you folks at Green Spring. And
you've been here about 2 years now, is that?
I moved in the day before Thanksgiving in 2016.
2016?
2016.
So you've only been here a little over a year?
I'm sorry, 2015.
Oh, okay.
2015, right.
All right.
But moving in just before Thanksgiving, I was able to see the setups at Christmas time here at Green Spring. One of the first things I saw was a village set up in Village Square.
Oh, you mean the train sets?
Yes, and it's what I refer to as a village.
Yeah.
And upon moving into Green Spring, knowing we're all supposed to downsize, there was one thing I didn't want to downsize, and that was my North Pole village.
So you had a collection of, did you have just the North Pole village?
I had just the North Pole, as where the one in Village Square is the town center, town city. Mine was just the North Pole. I had grandchildren, and over the years, I had decided I wanted to have a display for those grandkids that was uniquely grandmothers. So when I moved in, I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to display it, going from a 4-bedroom home or 3-bedroom home into a 1-bedroom home.
Yeah.
And
so you had them displayed all over your house?
I had them, yes, yeah. in groups, but the idea was that the kids could come up and see it, not necessarily touch it, but they could see it.
So these are not inexpensive little
They're items, it's a collection that I began in the early 80s.
Oh.
And each year when the children would ask, what can I get you, Mom, for Christmas? Or Grandma, what would you like for Christmas? I kept saying a North Pole house or a North Pole accessory. And it became something that the children really enjoyed giving me. And consequently, I just didn't want to downsize and give it to a place where you could buy pieces of it or the entire set. So I came to Green Spring, and seeing the village, I knew I wanted to work in a wood shop, which I found that Green Spring had.
Oh, okay.
And I decided I would make something to house this village.
So you heard about our wood shop, and
I heard about a lot of things at Green Spring, but when I heard that Green Spring had a wood shop, it was just up my alley.
Did you have your own wood shop?
No, I did not have a wood shop, but as I grew up with 2 older brothers and a dad who was creative and a house that always needed some kind of attention, I watched any plumber or any electrician or any painter who came into the house, and I developed an interest in working with my hands inside the house. So I was going through Facebook and saw a picture of a tree, a Christmas tree.
Oh.
And it had several shelves on it. Not a Christmas tree that you would hang things on, but a Christmas tree that you would set things on. So I determined I was going to make a tree to house my North Pole village.
Okay. So do we have maybe we have some pictures? Do we have some pictures of the starting of there it is. Can you see it on?
Well, you can see there's a big stem. That is a piece of PVC pipe.
Okay.
I went to Lowe's, I bought the pipe, and I walked into the wood shop and I said to the fellas, I'm going to make a tree. And they all looked at me as though I was on something. I said, no, I think it'll be great. It'll be the core or the centerpiece for a tree. Now you can see there's a bottom shelf, and I attached with staples the greenery that goes around the periphery of the circles. And
That's
you can
just
see,
a piece of plywood.
Absolutely just a piece of plywood, but I did mount 4 wheels underneath it, so you could pull it from one place to another. And then you can see—
That's about 30 inches in diameter?
It's a little bigger than that. It's a little bigger.
Okay.
When you include all the greenery that's attached to it. So you can see those shelves that are laying one on top of another.
Okay.
And you can see that they each have greenery, so that when they are put over the PVC pipe, and the shelves are supported by little metal brackets.
Just like we do bookshelves?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So then you get
That's an innovative way to do it.
Absolutely. And it gives you a graduated effect of the tree.
Yeah.
And therefore, those shelves become the surface on which the village will sit.
Shows them?
Oh, that's the bottom
That's
portion,
the bottom.
which shows the core, the PVC pipe, and the three bolts in the middle hold the PVC pipe in place with a block of wood that goes up into the PVC pipe, and the roller wheels, so that when it's turned over and set on the wheels, and you can see the string there, and that pulls it.
So we saw the top of it.
You saw the core of this is the underside of one of the shelves. That is not a wreath that you put on your door. That is artificial green stapled to the underside of the shelf, so that it gives you the effect from the distance of a tree.
Sure. And what's next? There we go.
And now this one is particularly interesting because that circle around it, it's not a bullseye, it's not an advertisement for Target. It is the street where the North Pole Business Village takes place. And that is the
Thinking
area.
ahead, huh?
Yep, right.
Okay.
And you can see the core, the centerpiece. That was difficult. In the wood shop, to cut that out, I really had to do it by hand. The outside, I was able to use a wonderful saw, but...
A little saber saw you probably used.
Yes, yes, it wasn't fun, but I'm sure now that I've done it,
I've cut
I
a
know
lot of
a better...
inside holes like that.
But now that I've done it, now on the bottom, this is looking down at the bottom shelf, and you can see the conduit that will hold the different plugs for the village. Each house in the village has a light inside. And so when you go up the pole, you have to be able to have extensions to plug in to the base down at the bottom.
Sure.
You'll see it more when you see a full view of the tree.
Next one.
Okay.
The next one.
Okay.
Well, that's us.
All right.
That's all he has.
Oh, is that all the pictures we have?
Okay.
Okay, so you had to have this conduit to put the electrical wires up, because
Yes,
every house
exactly.
in the village and the village, when we talk about the North Pole Village, it's not a single house. It's lots of different.
It begins.
There's a lot of different houses, and the whole thing is the
That's
North
right.
Pole Village.
And I say they're houses. Department 56 is the originator of these houses.
Oh.
When you go into the village square and you look at the train set, you look at those houses, and they're all pottery. They are done by casting and then individually painted. And so it's not something that's cheaply put together that you could buy at one of the discount stores. It is definitely a collector's item. But it's one of those things that I really wanted to be able to bring back to life at Christmas time.
Well, maybe we could see the video
Of the tree itself. Okay.
After it's finished. Do we have the video?
All right. It's coming along.
Yep.
The video.
Well, the video shows us the whole village. There we are.
Okay, we're starting at the top of the tree. This is Santa's lookout tower. And as she comes down, you can see we're looking at the very top. This is in my apartment. And so she's getting up close and personal with the village trees. I think she's going to come down a little bit. There is no star on the top of this Christmas tree. It is his village. Here we're coming down to some of the little houses. This is the chapel. Every community has a lovely chapel just like ours here. And as you go around that level, you will begin to see some of the elves. Here we have, that's the front of the chapel. And then we have Santa's woodworks. Coming around, you can see an elf is training some reindeer.
Yeah, he surely has
There's
a lot of
the
workshops.
reindeer barn, which is my favorite. That has the house. The reindeer are housed, and each one has their name on the barn door.
Oh, good. They
So
have
if
their
you
own
don't
stall,
know,
too,
that's right. This is the picture of the elves' bunkhouse. You can see a little. Oh, there you go. There's a close-up of the barn. So if you know your Dasher Dancer, you order, you'll be able to see them. We're coming back down, I think, a little bit. That's the entry to the North Pole. That's a gate. Then we're getting to the Peppermint Village, or the area where the elves make all the candy canes. And if you go around the tree, there's the bridge that they all cross over. And there they are sledding. They're assorted trees. A son told me, he said, Mom, there are no trees at the North Pole. Well, this North Pole has dogwoods or birch. We have evergreens. We have all kinds of trees. That's the snow cone house. And you can see on that level of the shelf, there is the candy cane village. This is a close-up of some of the elves who are down working in I think we saw some that were playing ice hockey. Now we're on another level. Are we on another level?
Well, it's nice that Santa has places for the elves to play.
Absolutely. And these elves are creative. You know, they're not just working at Christmas time. They work all year long.
Yeah, they have to.
We're actually now on the level where we have the village, the people who are the bakers, the cabinet makers. That's where you saw the shelf that had the road printed around it. On the front of every one of those houses is a wreath. And inside each wreath is a letter. And as you go around the shelf, it spells out North Pole. Here we're getting to the P. There's P for the post office. And you can see the elves are busy in the little village doing their thing. Now as we come, we're getting a close-up of the P-O-L-E. If you know how to spell North Pole, it will be consistent throughout the entire tree. There's Santa's mail coming in. Here's one of the reindeer again.
That's where all the letters come in.
Yep. Sleds and skates. Each house has a distinct thing that they make. There's a place where there are brass bells that are made. And now we're elevating, going up the tree a little bit. Coming up to the top. You can see the PVC pipe in the center. Now we're on the bottom shelf. To the left is the barber shop. And then there's the train station. There's a depot or a depository where all the gifts come in. And then here's a little train going from the
you have a working train
depot.
On the lower shelf.
Yeah, from the depot down to the post office area. And then here's the barber shop. And over here is the town center tree. Now that actually, I stole that from one of the other villages. That's not North Pole, but every community has to have a center and they have to have a town
so
tree.
Santa doesn't have a Christmas tree?
Well, he has one in his house, but this is the one for all the folks.
I see. Okay.
And as we come around, I think you can see the little train moving in among the houses. And here he goes. There he goes.
There.
It's a push cart, actually. So that's my tree, and I had thought I had been asked if I would display it at Hunter's Crossing in the lobby, and truthfully, there are so many little pieces that can be picked up and walk away that I determined I would make the tree and have it in my apartment. And then if there are residents who would like to see it, in the next month and a half, if you have any desire to see the tree, whether you're in a mobile cart or whether you're yourself able to get around, you're most welcome to call me and we'll make an appointment and you can come and see the tree.
Well, that's very, very generous of you.
Well, I think it's something that I'd like for everybody to see, and yet I'm not willing to give it up and put it down in the lobby.
Yeah. Well, I have seen the tree, and it's a beautiful tree, and I enjoyed seeing it very much.
Well, it was fun to make. Now,
it's a very innovative idea. You know, it's one of those ideas that, well, you saw it on you said
on Facebook.
Facebook page. And
right.
From there, you went on and built your own.
Well, you know, one of the nicest things is compliment beyond belief is to copy someone. And I copied that tree. But I tried to get the dimensions and all the way, you know, they came upon doing the tree, making it. And no one was willing to share that with me. So it was a matter of, okay, drop back and punt.
Well, is that the only thing you've done in the wood shop?
No.
Oh, you work at other things.
I wasn't sure women were permitted in the wood shop. That's absolutely wrong. Everyone who has any desire to do any kind of woodworking, whether it's making things, repairing, or learning things, new things,
Suppose
is
you've
most
never been
welcome.
in a workshop before. Or,
No, I had never had a workshop.
No, I mean, suppose you've never worked with the tools before.
Oh, there are plenty of people down there who will be happy to show you how to do
Oh, is that right?
what needs to be done.
They'll train you on the different saws.
And
so.
we're looking for more people because there are an awful lot of guys here who have had wood shops and have a lifetime of experience. And we'd love to be able to share or have you share that with us. Oh. So in the wood shop, we do a variety of things. Everybody who moves here has things some that need to be repaired, some that need to be gotten rid of.
As a matter of fact, we have a couple of things in our studio here.
Right. As I'm sitting here at this table, if you look outside, as you walk around the community, you'll see a lot of these tables outside, and they are in dire need of repair or refinishing. The gal who refinished this is Kathleen Illig, who is an institution in herself in the wood shop. It doesn't cost much to do any repairs or any refinishing. Yeah. And we welcome anybody in the community who has things that need to be repaired or refreshed, or we're happy to come and get the products from you and redo them.
Did you do some work on this too?
This one was Kathleen.
Yes.
Kathleen, I've done a lot of refinishing. I've done some caning, some refinishing, but Kathleen is the one who does really big things. I mean, huge secretaries, and people refer to her as that lady in the wood shop. There are a few of us in the wood shop now, not just one lady.
Oh, are there more than the two?
There are a couple of us. So we're getting more females in there.
Okay.
It is not just a man's world. We don't sit around the bar and talk beers.
Oh, you don't?
No, but we talk a lot of things. So come join us in the wood shop if you have an opportunity.
Well, now you're doing some things for the other things.
I do some volunteer work. When I first came to Green Spring, I was concerned about leaving all the things that I had been doing behind. But one of the things that I have done since 2009 has been involved with the Honor Flight program, which brings World War.
Let's not leave the workshop yet.
Okay.
Because you're doing a couple of other things in the workshop.
Yes.
Making some candle holders or.
Well,
sale,
I just finished being up at the bazaar, and I made a bunch, learning how to use the bandsaw with the help of the guys down there. I made 60 different sets of candle holders. Sets. There's a boy and a girl.
Okay.
And they both have in their fist, as they face each other, a candle. Well, at Green Spring, we're not supposed to burn candles. This is strictly a little cupcake candle in there, and they're facing each other. They're little things about 4 inches tall, and they're for sale at the bazaar.
Oh, okay.
And
when is the bazaar?
The bazaar is as we're speaking.
That's what I thought. Okay.
The bazaar begins today at 10 o'clock and goes through 3. It's a very busy day at Green Spring, folks.
So you're going to be up there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I was up there, and I encourage any of you who want to spend some money, bring your cash and come on up. But there are some great ideas for Christmas gifts.
Okay, we have about 60 different.
Well, I have 60 different. At least, and they're not just inside the conference center.
Oh.
They are down on the outside. As you come down the stairs, there are a lot of them right there. But an assortment of things. I really encourage you to make the time today to get up to Hunter's Crossing in the conference center.
Okay, folks, that's a good invitation. Okay. Make sure you get over there before 3:30.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Very good.
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
anything else on the workshop?
On the what? Well, we really are looking for more people to come in. Now, what does it cost to join the wood shop? To become a member, it's $1 a month.
No.
$12 a year.
No.
We have a limited amount of lockers. So if you have equipment that you brought in when you moved in that you want to be able to have in a locker down there, there are some of us who have our lockers filled with items. But the truth of the matter is, every kind of tool that you could possibly want is already located in the wood shop.
And they have a great dust collection.
We have a tremendous collection. We have duplicates of every kind.
No, I don't mean that. The dust collection system, where you collect the dust. You saw.
Yes.
And,
the vacuum
so you're not
system.
Going into an area where you have a lot of dust created.
We have 2 vacuum systems. One that's really out in the big room.
Yeah.
And we turn that on anytime any of the machines are running. And then there's one in the back room where Kathleen and those of us who are doing a lot of the refinishing, that is a smaller system.
Yeah.
But we have plenty of ability to get away from the dust, So if you're really doing something intense, we have masks that you can wear over your mouth or your nose. And of course, anytime we're using a saw, we have goggles that you must wear when you're using the saws.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like a well put together.
It's a fun place, but nobody knows where the wood shop is.
No, where is it?
Where is the wood shop? The wood shop is in Hampton Place,
Okay.
right?
In Hampton.
People don't know how to get to it. Well, you know where the bridge is that connects one building to the town center. Directly underneath that bridge, when you get to Hampton Place,
Oh, okay.
is the wood shop.
So there's a stairs that you could probably go down.
There are stairs, and if you were driving to the wood shop, when you come into the village, you would turn right at the first stop sign. It is that parking lot that has access to the wood shop on the T, or the one level, not T level.
Yeah.
It's the one level. And it's at the very end. We're open Monday, Wednesday, Friday we have people there from noon until 3.
And there's an entrance from it's the G lot that you're going into, and you have to go down some stairs
correct.
to go into that.
That's
that
correct.
door. Okay.
So if we have big pieces of wood, for instance, or 4x8 sheets from Lowe's that we're trying to locate or put into the wood shop, we go through that outside door that
would
connects
think so.
to the G lot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I hope you know where it is. It's at Hampton Place.
Come see us.
First floor.
Right.
And they're willing to show you around. All right. Well, let's talk about honor flights, because you, before we're talking about honor flights, you volunteered and or you were running tours. You were working on the tours.
When I retired, prior to my retiring, I worked with General Electric Company downtown in Washington, and after 9/11, I determined I was not going to be a tour guide. I wanted to go into tour guide work after I retired. But when I retired, and knowing how difficult it was downtown on 9/11, I decided I'm going to do some volunteer work with the military. So I went down to Fort Belvoir and was loading stuff that was going to be sent overseas. And as we were standing at the desk talking, someone said, well, Dale, with your knowledge of Washington, since you've been here 40 years and seen all these memorials go up, why don't you get involved with Honor Flight? And I said, what's Honor Flight? And apparently it was started after the World War II memorial was dedicated. There was a concerted effort to bring those veterans who were from out of town into D.C. to see their memorials. Many of them, their spouses had died. They would no more get in a car and drive to Washington to see the memorials. So it was determined that hubs in different cities would be located. And all of the resident fellas, gals who were able to apply for and spend a full day going to Washington, D.C. to see their memorials were welcome to sign on. So
was there a cost to the veterans?
There is no cost whatsoever to any veteran whatsoever. The hubs from the cities from which they come take care of that. It costs approximately $600 for each veteran to occupy a seat, to have lunch, dinner, and breakfast all day when they come to Washington. Keep in mind, someone who's coming from the West Coast might not come into Reagan. They would come into Baltimore or to Dulles. But those who are east of the Mississippi fly into Reagan. And the idea was that, okay, I'll help out with Honor Flight. What can I do? Well, you can be a guide, or if you'd like to be a tour guide, you can stay with the veterans all day on the bus and explain to them what we are passing, where we are going, what we are going to see. Well, from 2009 to the present day, I've done over 300 honor flights. And it encompasses getting to the airport at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 whenever the vets come in, greeting the veterans, getting them into place so they can go outside, get on their bus that's going to take them downtown. And then we go from place to place so that they can see all of the memorials that have been erected since the first one was the Vietnam Memorial that went up.
Do you have a favorite story that you'd like to tell? We've got about 3 minutes left.
There was one.
About the Marine veteran.
One particularly moving affair that I had. The day that the government closed down in 2011, we had a Marine aboard who had signed up for the Marine Corps because he played the trumpet, and he was told he could be in a Marine band. Well, he signed up, and as I say, he was a young kid. He was 17 years of age when he signed up for the Marine Corps. He went in, and of course, the first thing they did was to send him to Iwo Jima. He was going to be part of the band.
This was the attack of Iwo Jima.
This was the attack at Iwo Jima, and he thought he was going to be playing the, leading the troops in. Not so. This fellow wound up being nothing other than a litter carrier. He removed bodies all day at Iwo Jima. So he wanted to go and see the Marine Corps Memorial. Fast forward to 9/11, and a couple years later, when the government closed down, we could not get into the Marine Corps Memorial because they had not four-legged horses, but horses blocking the view.
The government closed off all the memorials.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I was on the second of 5 buses of this group that had come in, and this Marine really became very vocal. He said, "If I can't see this memorial, I can't go back home." So I turned to the bus driver and I said, "Let's drop out of the long line. We were the second. We were 5 buses, and I'll take you back to the Marine Corps Memorial." He said, "Ma'am, I'm from Baltimore. I don't know the roads around here." And I said, "Sir, I've been here for a long time. I'll get you over to the Marine Corps Memorial. We'll get back to the airport in plenty of time to get all the guys through security." And we got back to the memorial, and the bus absolutely erupted. They were so excited because this poor Marine, this is the only thing, he was 92 years of age. No, he wasn't 92. He said, "I'm going to be 92 years of age. I want to see my Marine Corps Memorial." So we got out, took pictures of him by the Marine Corps Memorial. And sometimes you have an instance where I will tell you that I have learned more history out of the mouths of these veterans, were they Korean, Vietnamese, or Vietnam War, or the World War II, than I ever learned in any history book. It's a privilege. And we have many veterans here in Green Spring. If you've never gone down to the airport to see what happens when an airplane full of veterans comes in, I encourage you, make that one of the things you'd like to do on your bucket list, is to go to Reagan and welcome some of these veterans.
So they come in about 8:30 in the morning? How do you know when they're coming in?
Oh, it's posted. It's all over the internet. All you have to do is go to DCA, which is the Reagan call letter. And we don't bring them in between November and February. It's too cold. But we start bringing veterans in March, and we stop just mid-November.
Well, Dale, it's been a pleasure having you today, and we could spend a lot more time talking,
Well,
I'm sure we could explore a lot of other areas of your life if we really had a little more time to do it.
Well,
but we're out of time.
I just want you folks to know, as residents here at Green Spring, if you'd like to see the tree, I'd be happy to make an appointment so you can come up and see it. I'm not going anywhere at Christmas time, so I'll be around.
And look her number up in the book. You could give it very fast, but they'd have to write it down.
I'm going to ask you to look it up because I don't know it off the top of my head.
All right. Thank you very much for
No,
coming.
it was my pleasure.
So,
Ray.
folks, we have a few announcements.